Hello everyone. Sorry here. Thank you for joining me for this part two of Kendra Card Challenge number 12. And this is the continuation of my Halloween cards. And I am, like I said, working really hard trying to get these through because I think I have 1 week left and then it won't make any sense to be publishing Halloween cards. So I'm really pushing myself, working long hours. No, I'm not working long hours, but let's pretend I'm working really long hours and I'm pumping these cards out. So let's work with card number 6. And this one's a cute one. This is a nice, it looks like a busy design, the sketch, but it's not too bad. It actually works really nicely, especially if you have nice, simple, clean pattern paper like the one I have. I mean, the fonts are busy, but it actually works really well. Okay, using some scrap paper now, I'm just going to glue that down so it'll keep this panel nice and flush. I'm starting to glue it down, forgetting that I didn't actually glue the large piece down yet, so we'll put that aside and then we'll glue my large piece. Sometimes it amazes me how I'm actually able to complete a card without too many mistakes because when I start getting into the mode of crafting, I'm not paying attention anymore. I'm just going for it. And that usually happens if I see what I want to do and everything's going smoothly. But it's always funny when you start watching the recap of what's happened. You see all these little things that you do. Okay, so I'm going to start working on the sentiment, and I'll fast forward this so you don't see me gluing down all the letters. But essentially what I've done is I've actually off screen cut that sentiment about 3 or 4 times in black cardstock and then glued them together. This almost makes it like a chipboard. It feels really sturdy. It feels really nice. I would recommend always, if you can, double it up, triple it up, whatever, just to make those sentiments thicker. Okay, let's add some banners. And you got some gray one, and we have an orange one. I don't know what to say. I'm gluing down banners. But you can see how just adding some banners that are similar in color, it doesn't make it too busy. So even though the sketch looks like it could be busy, it's not too bad if you keep your banners in the same color. If you did white, which I'm going to with my sentiment, I filled it in as much as possible with the black just so that that starking white wasn't too noticeable, because that does, even now I still kind of think it stands out, but it's a little bit better with the black font. Okay, so I'm just going to make a little scene, tuck in that little cute werewolf, which is a Kraftin Kimmie stamp. So if I haven't said it yet, the products that I'm featuring are Kraftin Kimmie Stamps. They have a Halloween one, and that's the little monsters. And then these pumpkins are from Autumn Pumpkins. And I just use some, they're not Olos this time. One of them is an Olo. The other one is some markers, Ohuhus. I think that's how you say it. Ohuhu. I just got them off Amazon. I was really curious how they worked, and so pleasantly surprised they're not too bad. I don't know about refilling them. I have to look into that, but yeah, they were reasonable for my coloring skills. So definitely check those out. And then here's my cute little spider with the crazy eyes. There you go, card number 6. That's cute. I like that one. That stencil is from Kraftin Kimmie's, and that is called Ghoulish Ghosts. And what I did was I dry embossed that in my Spellbinder's Platinum 6 machine, and then I put the stencil back on and inked it with black. So what that does is just creates a little bit of a dimension in the background. I will be covering most of this background. This was actually the hardest sketch to do for me, because you pretty much have every pattern paper almost on one card, and they're strips. And I had the hardest time trying to make it work without being too busy. And it is busy. It is very busy. I mean, I already added a very busy background. Then I'm adding a panel with more pattern paper. So it's a very busy card. But the part that actually made it work for me was when I added the sentiment. And of course, I will do that a little later. You can see the letters piled there on the left. Now, what I'm going to try and do is just try to space those out. And then I'll take the one, this piece was the one that I wanted to glue down first because it's just almost perfectly able to fit across in that spot. So if you start with the most difficult piece, then you know the angle that you need all the other pieces to go, and then you eyeball it. I'm not going to get a ruler. If it's off a little bit, I'm okay. But that's essentially when you work with these type of sketches with all the strips, try to find the one that fits just perfectly, and then you can work your way. If all of these pieces were extremely long, then you don't need to worry about it. You can do whatever you want. But this one was a little more, be on the cautious side. Okay, so there we go. So there's the massive strips, and I'm just going to trim those all off, and then we will have a busy card. I can't, it's busy. There's no way around it. It is busy. And I did notice that my card was a little bit long, so I'm just going to go onto my paper trimmer and just trim that bottom off so that it fits the base. And there we go. Now to cover most of that, just so that it's not too busy, I'm going to glue my panel down with some foam tape, just give me a little dimension to make it so that it's not part of the background. If I glued that directly down on that panel, it would look flat and it will look like you're just having more pattern paper on the base of the card. By elevating it up with foam tape, you are separating it. There's a shadow that's going to be casted, and you will see the separation. So that's why I did that. And of course, I also added a white border around the pattern paper to separate it even more. I am going to fast forward this 8 times, so my fingers will be glitchy. And although I do sometimes feel like I'm a robot, I am assured I am not. And so this is just because I fast forwarded it 8 times. But I wanted to kind of show you how these letters would be put in. Now, what I should have done was that black that I cut the sentiment out of should have been the exact same width of the pattern paper. Then I could have perfectly aligned it. This one is a little bit off, but it's not too bad. And so all I'm doing, once again, these letters were all cut about 4 times. And then, well, the 4th time was cut in some orange specialty paper that gives this distressed look to it. And I glued them all together, and it once again creates this chipboard effect. But I'm just putting them back into the holes of this cutout and then just kind of lifting the paper to make sure that it all comes loose. And then you get it exactly how the die had it. The reason I did it that way is because there's a lot of letters and I wanted it to be close together, and I didn't have faith in myself doing it manually, trying to make sure everything was close together. But look at the shine on those letters. I love that. That's so pretty. Card 8. Where's my card 8? Oh, here it is. Oh, this one's cute. I like this sketch. This is a really cool sketch. I love the simplicity of it. I don't follow it exactly. I do mirror it because the circles are kind of on the opposite side, but that's because my stamped image is facing that direction. So I kind of want to switch it up. You can rotate any way you want. It doesn't matter. But it is a cool sketch. So I'm keeping this fairly simple, sticking with the orange and black theme with my cardstock bases. And I'm just going to just position these so that that half circle looks like a full circle. And then I'll just add a little bit of glue just so that they stick. And I can add more if I want to, if I don't think it's secure enough. This is just so I can pick it up. And then I have it perfectly positioned. So there we go. And we'll glue this down, and I'm going to try to get this as centered as possible. Once again, trying my best to have equal space on the top and bottom, left and side. But in this case, it looks like I have it closer to the top, but that's okay. Ideally, I would like to have it more centered. This half circle is actually from card 4, is it? From the previous video, I had mentioned that I had cut a bunch of extra circles and I'm using them in other cards. So here's an example of where I use it, just so I have some grounding to my stamped images. So these stamps are from Kraftin Kimmie's. This is the little monsters and that adorable Dracula. And then all the other little pieces are die cuts, and those are from Brutus Monroe. And they're called occasional oh my goodness. Occasional tag dies. So I'll have all that information linked in the description below. It's funny the things that can get your tongue all twisted up, eh? I didn't think that was a difficult one, but apparently it was. So I'm just going to add these little stars, and I'm going to put them in the top left-hand corner and then a couple on the bottom right-hand corner. And that's just to add a little bit of something more to the card. That is one of the problems I have when you have a simple design. I just keep adding to it. I love simple designs, but it seems like I don't know when to stop. So I added stars, and it's still really pretty. I really like this card. It's cute. I love that little Dracula. And I just feel that this sketch may be one of those sketches that people are really, really liking. So once we add these stars, then what I'm going to do is find a sentiment to add to it. I decided I'm not going to use the spider. I didn't like how it looked. And so what I'm going to do is just get a sentiment that fill that space instead. I wasn't actually going to put a sentiment on this card, and sometimes I don't. If I feel like I just love the design of a card, I usually don't put a sentiment. It's almost like an art piece. But in this one, I decided that I would add one because the spider, it just didn't look, it was too much. Really taken away from my simple card. And so earlier this month, I actually used my Better Press to make a bunch of these sentiments. And I did some yellows and blacks, and the Happy Halloween seemed to fit nicely. It wasn't adding any color, and it was a nice skinny sentiment. And so I'm just going to add some strips of paper there and then just prop it up. And that's pretty much this card. I will still be working on it. I'm talking faster than I am creating. But I guess I can say that if you're not familiar with Kendra Card Challenge, it's definitely something to check out. I'll have the information in the description box below. And what it is it's you take 6x6 pattern papers and you turn them to 15 cards, and then you have chances to win wonderful prizes. Okay, card number 9. This is the last one I'm going to be showing in this video. And this one I decided to make a little scene. So I won't be using everything that's on the desk today. I realized that it just was too crowded, but I really like how this one turned out. This sketch is a very simple one as well. And I actually like that little strip that's added to the main panel of that card. It really made it kind of fun. And it just so happened that I got a good pattern piece. If you ever watch my other videos, you know, or have said many times, that I don't plan my pattern paper. It's almost like a game. You just pick the pattern paper you like, and then you just kind of shuffle them, and then you say, okay, that's A, B, C, D, and F, and you cut. And sometimes you get some crazy combinations, and you know what? It doesn't matter. If you make a card that's just so awful to look at that it blinds you, you can recycle it. So it doesn't really matter. It's all for fun. But this actually turned out amazing. All I had to do was flip the card 90 degrees so that my panel that I'm gluing down now is upright. And then my little strip was the black and white strips, and that looks amazing in any direction. So I was lucky, and it looks awesome. So I'm just gluing these down, adding some padding on the bottom to make sure that it's nice and flush like I do. And then I have this little die that's from Lawn Fawn. I can't remember what it's called, but it's pretty much just these trees, and they actually have the tops of the trees as well. So if you want to do the different seasons. And I'll link that in the description below, but I just cut that so it fits the panel, and then I'm going to add my sentiment there that says "You're a Scream" so that I know where my space is, because I want everything to be kind of balanced. That half circle is once again from the previous sketch in my last video where I had all these extra circles, and I'm using it as a harvest moon, and it looks really cool with this silhouette lawn fawn die. I really like this, and I'm having so much fun making it. And so we'll just put that there. And this is why I don't use all of my images, because I didn't want to hide all that awesomeness. And so I did have plans to use my Frankenstein monster and the zombie, but instead I pulled in a pumpkin. Both of those stamps are from Kraftin Kimmie's. Once again, it is autumn pumpkins for the pumpkin and little monsters for the cool little guys. And we'll just glue these down, and that will pretty much finish this card. So once again, thank you so much for joining me. I am in the process of finishing the last cards, and I hope you enjoy them and look forward to seeing what I create. So until the next time, take care and have a beautiful day. Bye.